Hi, how are you, my younger brothers? I'm your elder brother, Kiran Roy. So, today I'll be addressing a very crucial topic. What are the deep rooted problems in Indian marriages? Basically, what are the problems in marriages? That's what I'll be addressing in complete detail. I'll be analyzing each and every point. I won't leave any stone unturned. This is my promise. But before I proceed, let me tell you that I'm introducing the membership course even in my English channel now. It is called Be Self Sufficient, in which I'll be covering each and every aspect you would be requiring to be the best version of yourself. And I'll also be covering points on how to handle the manipulation tactics. And I'll also be sharing how to manipulate things when things are not in your favor, because there are lots of tricks and techniques which I have mastered over the past 26 years, and it's a no brainer that I cannot say that in my free channel, because with great powers comes great responsibilities, as Spider-Man as that movie told us. So I just cannot, it can be misused basically. So it is it is like common knowledge that only a person who is serious about improving himself, a person who is serious about life, only he will be taking the membership. A layman won't be taking it. A normal person won't be taking it. Only a person who is serious about transforming his life would be taking the membership. So naturally, I'll be giving it only to them. For example, who are enrolling for my guitar courses, I'll be giving them my best, whatever I have learned over the past 26 years, only to them, right? I won't be giving it for the people who are just there to just have listen to my songs, to have a good time and go back home. I'll just play a few songs for them. But for those people who are actually who have enrolled for my modules, for my courses, I'll be giving them each and every tricks which I have learned, and I can make them the best guitar player. So same ways, whoever have enrolled for the courses are in for some best techniques which you won't find anywhere else. And also to consider giving a super thanks if you find my content valuable. If you've gained in any which ways, then you can pass on that in the form of super thanks, because that will be completely be given away to the orphan kids of Chembur Children's Home, with whom I'm associated ever since I started my career way back in 1998. So every year, as in every month, there goes a fixed amount from my end, from my side, and there also goes an amount which is not fixed from my students, which goes under the name of Kiran Roy students. So the money, whatever you send through these courses, memberships, super courses, super thankses, super thanks, everything will go there completely. I mean, not entirely. One amount will be divided amongst my managers. There are three managers who manage me, who manages my Guitar Hall Academy as well as my social media profiles, including YouTube. So one part is divided amongst those three, and the rest is given to the orphan kid, because I don't want a single rupee out of this, because this I do only for my genuine concern for you guys. So for this, I don't need any money, because I already have lots of avenues, because I've already monetized my music through teaching, through guitar selling, through my guitar factory. So I have multiple sources of multiple avenues. So I don't need this money for myself. But this money can be used for somebody who will actually need it. And those are the orphan kids, because they don't have anybody else. They don't have their parents basically who will look after them. So if you help them, see, as it is, you guys are not going to give me 10,000, 20,000, or 1 lakh rupees. You'll be giving hardly a few $100. So that $100 won't give them anything big. But even if it can buy them one T-shirt, even if it can buy them one burger, it's good, no? So that way I'm saying, try to be, try to give them as much as you can. It's not necessary that you have to like one small gesture can also work wonders for them. That is what I have to say. So coming back to my point, what are the biggest problems in Indian marriages? The first point is majority of the people don't marry the woman they want to. They marry the woman they are supposed to. For example, the man may have no say, but he still has to marry that woman because she is approved by status, she's approved by caste, she's approved by society. So you're getting what I'm trying to say. He has no say. Suppose he might like somebody else, but that woman might be would be disqualified due to caste issues, due to anything. It can be, I've even seen women getting disqualified due to the color of their skin. Like she had everything, highly educated, doctor, everything, but their society, the society of the groom, as in the community of which the groom belongs, they discredited her other achievements, and they gave the verdict that no, you cannot go ahead because she is too dark for you. In our community, we are fair, so our offspring should also be fair. This was the biggest bullshit I have ever witnessed. Personally, I have witnessed this because they belong to one particular community who have a lineage of fair. They are fair-skinned people. I don't want to disclose the community name due to obvious reasons, but their community are known for their fair skin. But that lady belonged to one particular part of India wherein they are dark skinned. Even I am dark skinned. Like we are having the typical Indian skin tone. So I can fully understand like the feeling which that girl must have felt, because she was a doctor, highly qualified, hardworking, good girl. Like no red flags, no past relationships, nothing. Because that guy was so depressed. That's why he had consulted me, saying that, sir, I truly loved that lady. I genuinely loved that girl because after ages, I truly found us like I truly found somebody worth like worth my respect, whom I genuinely feel like respecting, because she fits all the bills. But my family, my community, because I belong to a strong community, like I cannot go against my community because they will hunt me down. There is also this concept called honor killing in my community, because that particular community which I'm talking about, they are very well known for their honor killings. Like they can directly even get somebody killed for that matter if they go out of the wishes of their elders, basically. So he got married to another girl, another woman from his own community, which his parents had selected. But this guy was depressed because he was not at all happy with his wedding, and he was telling me that everything was fine. Everything was good between us. She had no past, like clear record, good education, good bright future. But just because of her skin tone, I could not marry the love of my life, and now I am completely into drinking. I'm just drinking because I have no interest left in my life, because I did everything. I built a good body, I built my business, everything I did only for that, only to get married to that lady love of mine. Now she's only not existing in my life. So for whom should I do? So this guy is in utter despair. He's into big time depression. He doesn't know what to do. So I will be, because just it's a new case, so I will be giving him the right direction. Don't worry about him. He's in safe hands. But I'm just, since my point is this, so I thought I'll mention this point, that it is in the biggest problem of Indian marriage is majority of the cases they cannot marry the girl that they want. They have to marry who they are supposed to. Supposed to in this case was what? She should be fair skinned, on par with the boy or the entire community, because as I said, that community was known for their lineage of white skinned people, as in fair skinned people. They are not like very white as in Americans or Britishers, but as per Indian terms. So she was disqualified only because of the skin tone. Then on numerous occasions you might have seen ladies or grooms for that matter getting rejected because they are not earning enough. And the biggest reason, which you will see everywhere in every nook and corner of the country, that is caste. If you belong to some or the other caste, you are doomed. You cannot marry, you cannot go ahead. In fact, when I mentioned honor killing, the biggest reason of honor killings is somebody eloping and marrying somebody else of another caste, basically. So caste system is prevalent in India, which I personally consider as a big evil, because as per me, all human beings are equal. Human beings comes in all shapes and sizes. All are beautiful. I don't say that only a fair person will be beautiful, because it is Bollywood. It is that worst scum of the society, which is Bollywood, which has only glamorized, which has only stereotyped that if you have to, I mean, it has stereotyped that only fair is beautiful. Dusky, brown skinned, or dark skinned people are not, they cannot be deemed beautiful. That is what Bollywood has portrayed throughout the years. So that's the worst thing which Bollywood has done for the society, that you have to be of that traditional beauty. You have to adhere to those traditional beauty standards which they have created, they themselves have created. They themselves have been ruling the roost from one particular community. Only they have been given the chance. Only they go ahead. Rest, nobody else is given any value. And that has been passed on to these people also from Bollywood. So my first point, as I said, it is not what you want. It is what you are supposed to. So you might want some lady. I mean, for example, one guy might love somebody from the bottom of his heart, but since she does not have that caste, she does not have that skin color, like I explained you, she does not have that educational qualification, she does not have something else, she's not as rich as that family or nowhere near. So all these factors are of paramount importance. It's not the love, understanding, respect which they have for each other. It is not this. This does not figure out anywhere in the scheme of things. Only thing is, like, it's the biggest business transaction which I said, which I always say. So it is only about business. It is only about business, that what you will gain. So marriage is absolutely not for, I mean, for not for getting what you want. It is for what you are supposed to get. Basically. My second point is no emotional compatibility. What you have seen everywhere. See, before I say that, let me tell you, physical attraction is very much temporary, very much, completely temporary. In fact, like within a very short period, one can, it's very easy to get bored of somebody if you are just in, if you are just fond of him or her physically, because that's a very shallow metric basically. If you ask me, it's a very shallow, because physical beauty, physical attraction is very, very temporary. It changes. Even I mean, if I look this way today, next year if you look at me, I might be bad also, I might be good, because it's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. I can be very good also, I can be very bad also. It's not in my hands, right? As in, of course, whatever I can do, I will do. But at the end of the day, like, there are lots of other factors also involved. Look at Salman Khan. He used to look so good, but now recently, if you, this is the past like 6 7 months that I'm noticing him, he's looking very old. Of course, he has aged, but that's what I'm saying. Age is there. Lots of other factors are there. So physical, what I mean to say is, physical attraction is temporary, because nobody will remain the same. Even I won't remain the same. Today I'm looking this way. I never take the compliments, because I'm getting lots of compliments for my transformation, for my youthful looks. I'm getting lots of compliments, but I don't at all like take it seriously, because I know that just like it's a matter of just a few bad months and I can again like look bad. I know that very well. Suppose if I mean, anything can happen, because I had fractured my toe a few months before. I was out of action. Like, so, like, anything can happen in life. So nothing is permanent, is what I mean to say. So my first thing when I say this is, physical attraction is temporary. So after that, what happens in every marriage? People talk to each other, as in couples. Couples talk to each other only out of logistics, not out of emotions, not out of anything else, because there is nothing else remaining after a few months of marriage. Because as I said initially, due to that physical attraction, they are in touch with each other. But as I said, physical is temporary, emotions are everything. But in majority of the cases, emotions takes a backseat, because emotions were never a part of the picture to begin with what I explained to you in the point one, that you don't get whom you love, you only get whom you are supposed to get. So in the second point, you are, if you take it further from that first point, that you are not as it is marrying the person whom you love, because it's an arranged setup. It's a, because I'm talking about arranged marriages basically in today's video. But even in love marriage, even if you take love marriage for that matter, because I've seen countless cases, suppose if it's a love marriage also, but after that physical thing fizzles out within a few months or the maximum a year or two. After that, majority, in fact, all the couples that I have counseled or I have met in my life so far, I've seen that they are communicating with each other only on logistic grounds. What will you eat? Where will you go? Which shirt will you wear? Only these logistics are being discussed upon. There's no room for emotions. There's no room for heart-to-heart talk. There's no room for sharing goals, sharing dreams. It's only based on day-by-day logistics. Either just buy me a bread while you come, just get a bottle of coffee when you come, like logistics basically. So that is what it is reduced to within a very short span basically. Because initially, as I said, that physical attraction is there, so only out of that physical attraction, they are still, that little bit steam is still there, but that fizzles out very soon, because as I already told you, physical attraction is very temporary. It is not at all a barometer to gauge. So basically, it is reduced to just logistics talks, nothing else after a point in time. So it fizzles out basically. So basically, what happens is there is no emotional compatibility because once this physical attraction wears off, where ideally there should be some emotional compatibility, but that thing is completely missing. And I would say all the weddings after a point in time, this emotional compatibility is completely missing after a point in time. All of them, because at least in all the cases that I have personally witnessed, be it anybody, because supposedly it might seem good in front of the eyes, with which I'm coming to my next point now. My third point is society is greater than self. So this is what I was trying to explain you in my point, that majority of the people, they try to maintain a good picture in front of others, because for them marriage is only about showing off. Marriage is not at all for personal growth, mutual trust, mutual respect. It is absolutely, that's absolutely not the case. It is only to show a happy picture to the rest of the society. Or else, why do you think these useless concepts like pre-wedding shoots, post-wedding shoot, this shoot, pregnancy shoot, why these things have started also at the first place? You only tell me. That is only to gain validation from the society. That is only to get validation from others. Be it that is only to show off to your relatives, society, classmates, school friends, whoever, whatever. But the bottom line is to show off. It is to make an announcement that look at me, look at how happy I am. So majority of the people, they just want to show off to the people, to their relatives, that look, we are doing so good. When in reality, that is not the case, because I, being a counselor, being a psychology student who has been getting into the depth of this family fabric, society fabric since the past 20 years minimum. So I'm in a very good position to tell you that all, and even if not all, majority, the vast majority, are just faking it to appear cool and appear happy in front of the society, especially relatives. Because see, me belonging to the Bengali community, though I don't, as in I've adopted the Maharashtrian culture, I'm more of a Marathi, I'm more of a Maharashtrian than a Bengali. But since my family title, as in my surname Roy, I'm born in a Bengali family, right? So in Mumbai, the percentage of Bengalis are very less. So our community is like very less, because the other communities are like huge. Look at Marwadis, look at Rajasthanis, look at Punjabis for that matter. Because where I live, it is filled with Punjabis. Filled means like 90% Punjabis and Sindhis, nothing else. So South Indians, they have a huge community, but Bengali community is minuscule. So in Bengali, like even if they have to, they don't have to. I mean, they are not under much pressure, because the community is very sparse in Mumbai. At least where I live. Here there is like, I don't. I mean, it's been ages since I've met any Bengali. But for others, so take for example a Punjabi for that matter, because I live in a Punjabi dominated locality. Here, their community is so strong that they have to, even if they are not in a happy setting, they have to appear happy. Getting it? So it is the society which takes the precedent. So what I mean to say is, they might be in a very bad marriage. They might be in the worst marriage, because I counsel them, right? I'm aware of what kind of marriage they are in as of now. But still, to be in the good books of their community, they have to appear and to fake it that we are happy, though they are not happy by any means. Just to show off in front of them, they are showing that, yeah, we are so happy, we are so good. So that's one big problem of Indian marriages, that their personal happiness takes a backseat. It is only the happiness of the society which is given more precedence over being happy. So you're getting my point. Majority of the, I mean, you might be seeing lots of happy couples, but take it from me, majority of them are just appearing. It's just an act. They are just living up an act to appear happy, so that their community fabric is not shaken, as in everything is intact. They don't lose out anything from their community friend, because they are very much, because their majority are herd followers, as I told you. They all operate in crowds, they all operate in herds. They don't have the rebellious instincts. They just like to follow the crowd. They just want to follow. That's the reason why they spend so much on these photo shoots, as I said, just on the decoration. Why? It is just to show off, basically. And what is showing off? To be in the good books of the crowd, to be in the good books of the society, be in the good books of the community. That's it. That's nothing. They've got nothing to do. As in, that's the biggest blunder which they are making. In fact, tomorrow itself, I'll be making a video. I have already decided. My tomorrow's topic is going to be why marriages make you poor. That's what I will explain you in my tomorrow's video with exact, accurate analysis and proof which I have collected. But for this point, as I said, society approval of the society is greater than personal gratification. My next point is sexual starvation. Nobody talks about it, but I am in a very good position to talk about it because I know the reality. After the initial period, after the initial time wears off, there is no intimacy remaining, because as I said, majority of the marriages are only done out of social obligations, just because you're supposed to do it, not because there's any need, any genuine need of it, but it's a matter of culture, it's a matter of you have to do it like that. So after a point in time, one common pattern which I've seen in majority of the married couples, that there is no intimacy left. Though they are lying next to each other in the same bed, both of them are scrolling their own mobile phones. I know, I mean, if any married man or woman is watching this video, you must be aware what I'm talking about. This is the reality everywhere, not only in one part, and this is not limited only to Mumbai city, because I live in Mumbai, nothing like that, because majority of the people whom I counsel are from all over the world, basically, but all over India. Though in fact, majority are even from out of India, majority in fact, bulk of my like clients are from out of India, but whatever is from India is from out of Mumbai, basically. So this is not limited only to my cities, what I mean to say. Even in Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, the story is the same. After the initial few months now, earlier it used to be years. But now what I'm seeing a new trend, that it is just after a few months, they get bored of each other. And rather than having, because what happens, there are many other points also to consider, because the stress level has increased. Again, I'll make another video to describe this particular point, because this point needs a proper video of its own, that why intimacy is missing in wedding. So just while talking to you, I thought that one new topic came in my mind, that why intimacy is missing in Indian weddings. This I will definitely make. So what happens, there are lots of factors, out of which I'm just telling you one small factor, that the stress level has increased a lot in the Indian society. There's lots of competition, lots of unemployment, lots of EMIs people have, because to appear rich in front of the rest, they end up taking huge loans. So very soon they are now burdened under these debts, rising debts, and which they are unable to pay. So naturally that intimacy thing, that physical, because you need a relaxed mind to get intimate, right? With loads of tension in your mind, how can you make out with somebody? So very soon they get into this grind, wherein they are just lying next to each other like heaps, like like a sack, like a sack of potato. They are just like lying there. There is no intimacy, and both of them are in their own phones, nothing else. So this is a very common thing which I've personally seen, and whatever I say, it's all only from my personal experiences. It's not as per any book, any textbook. I'm just giving a disclaimer that none of these things are like, I did not read any video, read any book, because it's completely my own interpretation. All right. My next point is over-involved families. Hence, no independence, no freedom. So in every wedded family, I mean the story with every wedded couple, you will see one common factor. It is the in-laws who runs the shows. It is the parents who makes the decisions. It is the sister-in-law who calls the shots. Isn't this the story everywhere? Brother-in-law says something which you cannot say no to. So in majority, in fact, why I would say majority, every Indian married household, you will see it's the elders or the others or the in-laws who calls the shots. It's they who pull the strings. So the couple in question, they have no say. In fact, in majority of my consulting, in my counseling, I have seen that many had to give birth to children in spite of them not being ready, just on the insistence of their parents. They were not even ready to have a family planning. They were not prepared for it. They were not prepared for the child, but they had to do it under pressure from their parents. This also have seen. So you can imagine the gravity of the situation, that these married couple, they have no say. They were married off at the first place without their consent. Now, even after getting married, they cannot live the life they want. Everything, it's their parents who decides what they will do, what they won't do, when they have to give birth, what will be the name of the children. I'm just giving an example. Naming a children is no big deal. Anybody can name anybody. That's not a problem. But the problem lies when the crucial decisions, as crucial as giving birth to a child, is made not by the couple in question. It is made by the in-laws, or for that matter, the elders of the family. So, bottom line is, the biggest problem with Indian wedding is they have no independence, they have no freedom. How many of you can relate to my words? You can let me know in comments, because majority of the cases I have seen, the independence of these couple going for a toss, complete toss, their freedom going for a complete toss. So this is one big drawback of Indian marriage, I will definitely say, the due to which I've also included it in my point. Now my next point is, both the bride and the groom, both the man and the woman, are told to adjust. Earlier, during earlier times, it was just the domain of women. Only women were told that, hey, you need to adjust. Times went by, women got equal rights, equality, empowerment, all these things came up. So now it's the other way around. Now it's the men who are told to adjust. Now, if any problem happens, I'm not talking about me, as in we counselors, we find the way and we tell them. But when the problem starts, they first confide in with their parents, right? So when they confide their problems to their parents, the first thing which they have to listen is, hey, you have to adjust now, dude. You cannot do anything else. You have to adjust. Now you are married. You guys are man and wife. You have to adjust now. There's no way out. That is the first thing which is told to them. After which they consult us. They take our help. That they say that, see, sir, I have lost all hope now because I am in deep trouble due to my wife, and I have confided in to my parents, but they are of the single, unanimously they say that you have to adjust. There's no way out. I cannot do anything. So now you tell me, what should I do? So this is one big problem which I'm seeing at today's times. It is more men than women, because as I told you, I've been counseling people since the past 20 years. Last 10 years has been professional counseling, and before that, unprofessionally. I would not charge a single rupee for my services. I used to do it to study the fabric and to grow my psychology knowledge and to use my psychology knowledge. So first 10 years, I never charged a single rupee, because I used to do it majorly for my students in my academy. But after that, it spread. So through word of mouth, people started consulting me, and that is when I started charging for the same. But so what I mean to say by that is, I've been counseling since the past 20 years. So I have a body of 20 years experience. So the first 10 years, if you ask me, the incidence of women being told to adjust was more. But since the past 5 to 6 years, if you ask me, it is now men who are now told to adjust. So the tides have changed now. So it is completely tilted in favor of men now, who are now told to adjust. Now, if anything goes wrong, men can't take it anymore now. So they are told now, hey, you have to adjust. You cannot do anything else. So being told to adjust to anybody is a big problem. Me being a psychology student, me being a counselor, our job is to find a way. Our job is not to say, as in, no, I'm not just talking about me. Like what I believe in, that everywhere throughout the world, because I'm a problem solver, right? That is my main job. I believe everybody should be solving the problem rather than just taking it and saying that, hey, you have to adjust. For example, if a person gets sick, you cannot say, hey, you have to adjust. First thing what you will do, you'll run a check, you'll get it diagnosed. Once you know what the issue is, you will take medication, you will try to eliminate it completely from the body. That's how treatment is done, right? It's the same thing. Why can't people do it in their lives? Why do they say, hey, you have to adjust? Because I don't believe in this, you have to adjust thing. I believe there should be a cure. I agree there is not a cure for everything, for each and everything, for each and every problem in the world. I take full responsibility for that. because I'm a learned person in my field. I've done lots of studies, lots of research. So I myself concede that yes, there are things which cannot be solved. There are wars which cannot be won. There are problems which cannot be solved. Even I cannot solve them. And why me? Like even bigger and better people than me also won't be able to solve them. I'm aware of that. But just because of that, we cannot say, hey, you have to adjust. We have to keep trying, right? Who knows? One fine day, we might find a cure even for the most incurable problem in the world, right? So we have to try. So I never say you have to adjust. I always show them the way. Whoever have taken counseling sessions from me would be very well aware that I always show them the way. I never say, hey, bro, you'll have to adjust. I will never say that. But this is a huge problem. That is why I'm including it in my list of problems in Indian marriage. Now, the next point is a bit hilarious. Next point is men and women living without purpose. How many of you have seen married men? Let's take married men to begin with, because I'm a man. So, so I know lots of men. So that's why let's say, how many of you have seen men? I mean, they used to be like these dudes before marriage. They used to be slim. They used to look so good. They used to be so high on life. They used to like have the best hairstyle, wear good clothes. But the moment they get married, just 1 year down the lane, they are pot-bellied pieces of potatoes. They look like potatoes basically, because now the only thing that they're concerned in their life is Netflix and rising EMIs. Nothing else. Only their life revolves only around two things: full day office. With office, they will pay the EMIs and Netflix when they return home. Nothing else. And of course, getting drunk on weekends. That's a typical trait of all married men in India. But I'm talking about weekdays, okay, not weekends. In weekends, drinking applies. But just look at any married man worth his salt. What is the schedule throughout the week? Office, home, and lying down with a heavy body, pot-bellied, that skinny, fat, typical Indian body they will have, underdeveloped legs, underdeveloped arms, but stomach will be jutting out, and lying in front of Netflix. That's it. So if you ask me to term them in two words, it's just EMIs plus Netflix. That's what it is. So men completely lose direction after marriage. In this point, I'm not talking about women because I have a separate topic for them. So, but in this point, I'm only including the men. Men are directionless after marriage because their only direction, as I said, revolves only around EMIs, paying fees. If they have kids, paying their children's fees and watching Netflix. Nothing else. Their entire life revolves only around Netflix and EMIs. Nothing else. Not counting job, because with that job only they'll be paying the EMIs. So I'm not adding that job, but it's only Netflix plus EMI. But you can add that job also, because that's the main thing which they'll be doing. Nothing else. Next point is no masculine, no no masculine polarity basically. What do I mean by no masculine polarity? After marriage, you will see men becoming soft, women becoming more aggressive and masculine. How many have seen this? That's a common trend in, in the Indian society. First, you will see the man living like a king, like a goon. He will have all the powers in the world. But soon, once he gets married, he becomes soft, too docile, whereas the woman will be calling the shots. So, due to this polarity, because originally what is the ideal polarity? Man is masculine, woman is feminine. That is what keeps the attraction running. But after marriage, after a typical Indian marriage, I would say, though this attribute holds true even out of the country, but since I have seen majority of the cases from my country, so I can easily say that there is a huge disparity in the polarity. So the masculine polarity diminishes. Why? Because man becomes soft, women become masculine. So the attraction, what happens to the attraction? You tell me. It is completely going for a toss. If a man becomes weak or completely like effeminate, and if the woman becomes strong, masculine, how on earth can you expect any sort of attraction to exist? You only tell me. Will any attraction be there? No, no. Would there be any scope for sexual energy in that case? No. So you can easily derive to the conclusion what will be the problem, what will be the conclusion. You only tell me. You have the answer right in your hands. So this is the main problem. Masculine polarity is a huge concern once people get married, because Indian men ceases to remain a man after they get married. But point to be noted, they are the same ones who used to be the epitome of masculinity just before marriage. Before marriage, they used to be like those dudes, those guns, those like raw masculine figure. But they turned into sims, because, as I said, 80%, 90% of all Indian, not even 80, it's 90% of all Indian men are sims. And 98% of all married Indian men are sims. So even these raw masculine figures who used to be masculine once upon a time, they turn into sims after marriage. And once they turn into sims, it's the end of their masculinity. Masculinity fizzles out, and so does the attraction between the couple. So that's a huge problem in Indian weddings. In fact, this is one of the biggest reason why extramarital affairs happen, why these women hunt outside. This is also one of the biggest reasons. My next point is zero pre-marital clarity. Nobody talks about finances before marriage. Nobody talks about their religious likes, dislikes, as in what are the religious thoughts. Nobody talks about parenting skills. Nobody talks about each other's political goals. Nobody talks about how they will be running, as in how finances would be involved. So, what happens in the long run? Everything goes for a toss. All that they are busy discussing before marriage is what are your hobbies, what do you like to eat, what do you like to drink, which movie you like, which Bollywood star you like. That's it. Wherein all the actual discussion should be revolving around their parenting styles, their their as in to get into the things which actually matter, like finances, parenting styles, living styles. These are the most important things. Future goals, purpose, these should be the most important thing to address. But there's a complete lack of that in the Indian system, due to which it's a huge problem, which creates a huge problem, thus deserving a place in my list of the problems in Indian wedding. That lack of premarital clarity, 100%, that's a huge problem in Indian weddings. My next point is marriage is seen as a goal in the Indian society. The moment a person gets married, that's their final destination. They stop evolving. And once a person stops evolving, they get stagnant. And stagnancy is death. So one common point which which you all of you must have seen, that they would be they would be like they would be at the top of their game, both physically, emotionally, financially, in all aspects. But the moment they get married, they become sluggish, because that was their final destination. Because right from birth, both men, girls, boys, girls, they are told, if you study well, you will get a good girl. If you study well, if you get a good job, you will get a very good woman to get married with. Even the girls are told the same. If you do this, you will get a good husband. You will get a good house to get married. So the in the Indian society, right from the beginning, what is fed in the minds of impressionable kids is that wedding is your final destination. For a woman also, you will go to your in-laws house, that is your final destination. You get married, we are completely done. The Indian parents are like, we are done. We have done our duties, everything is done. So in short, it's like the final destination, even for a man. That what's the final destination? That you get marks, get a good job, get married. That's it. That's the final destination. What next? It's death after that. They don't talk about anything else once marriage is done. So what happens? This thing is ingrained in the minds of both Indian men and women, that marriage is the final destination. So what happens in the process is they consider that my final destination is over, wherein life has just begun from that point onwards. But they don't take it that way, because that's the reason why everywhere you see. Why do you see Indian men and women turning into balloons? They look like balloons immediately after getting married. Why? Why not before that? Because that was their final destination. Whatever they did was only to get married to a good girl or to a good man. That was their final destination. After that, what? Nothing. Now it's only like taking care of kids, giving birth to kids, taking care of kids. That is what they live for. Wherein it should be completely the opposite, if you ask me. It should be just the start of your life. It shouldn't make you sluggish. It shouldn't make you complacent. In fact, you should be on your toes now, because now there is not one. There are two lives which are involved, which will soon turn into three, into four, your children. So that should be the starting point of a new start, actually. But in India, that's like the end. You are done. Now that is why you will see the advent of people turning, like, look at people of my age, man. You can just get the answer yourself. Look at any other 44-year-old of my age, of exactly my age. Just look at the way how they look. Just look at the way how I look. And why a male? Just look at any 44-year-old lady, for that matter. You won't call them lady, we'll call them aunties. Just look at them. Why? They are married. They don't have to look after themselves. They are married. Well, they will say that I'm married. What will I do after looking after myself? I still have to run this home only. I still have to be married to this guy only. That is their thinking. So nobody looks after themselves at all. And that's just an excuse, basically, because nobody is like loyal. Nobody is like this. Nobody has to. Nobody are like putting in so much efforts for their family. But it's just their excuse. They don't want to do anything. So this serves as the best sounding excuse to them. That I'm married. I don't have time to do all this. I don't have time to look after myself. These are like the excuses of weak-minded people, basically. So they are all like weak-minded herd followers, basically. So they will look so bad after getting married. You will see. It's because that's their final destination. They don't have any further destination now. No further goals in life. That was the end. My next point is lack of individual identity. Once a person gets married, they are soon engulfed under the title or under the role of husband, wife, father, mother, as in daughter-in-law, son-in-law. They have all these titles except for the most important title. Do you know what? Self. The moment they get married, they start referring to themselves as husband, wife, this, that. So the most important person is missing in that equation. That is self. So looking after self takes a backseat. It is looking after that husband, as in what a husband should do to be a good husband. Their entire thinking revolves on that pattern. For a man, what a husband is supposed to do: go to office, earn, come back home. That's it. What a woman should do, she has her things. But in the bargain, that's most important person, which is self, that is completely tossed out of the window. There is no time, no consideration for the most important aspect called as self. So self takes a beating after marriage. How many of you, even if you are married and if you're watching my video, you only tell me, didn't you lose touch with yourself once you got married due to the titles which you were living under: husband, wife, mother, father, mother-in-law, father-in-law? No, not mother-in-law. That will take some time. But son-in-law, daughter-in-law. This there is still time for you to become a mother-in-law or father-in-law. My next point is toxic communication patterns: yelling, sarcasm, gaslighting, stonewalling. You name it. The communication between both man and wife goes for a complete toss. Look at any wedded couple. You will only in public they have to talk decently. You will only see them talking decently when they're in public. But in majority of their personal lives, you will see the good old clear communication going for a toss. It is more of a ego battle, because once these things start, which I just mentioned, like stonewalling, gaslighting, silent treatment, all these things takes a center stage, which results in what, which results in only one thing, which is a huge ego battle. Now it's a battle of the turf, home turf. And ego battle takes a big precedent in all marriages. It can be, I can easily say that that works in all the marriages, but in the severity varies, but that happens in every wedding. So by this, the entire communication system goes for a toss, resulting in huge ego battles, basically. So this is one huge problem which I've seen in Indian weddings. Now, the next point which I have seen in almost all the marriages, all, is financial mismatch. What is a financial mismatch? One person would want to save. I'm just giving an example. One person might want to save. The other person would be a spendthrift. Suppose, take for example, a husband. He's working day and night. He wants to save every bit of money for their future children. They might not be having children now, but very soon they will come. They will get born. So they will require funds. But wife is in no mood, because I've been counseling one such person, that they are not newly married, 3 years married. They are 3 years married for 3 years basically. So the guy is a lawyer. He's working with a Reliance. So he makes a good amount of money, not very high, but whatever is the market rate which the lawyers get. So he's earning that much amount, but he's saving for his future. He's a Bengali dude. He's saving for the future. But his wife is a big time spendthrift. She only wants the best makeup, best cosmetics, best watches, like best vacations. Two vacations she requires every year. So, so though this guy in question, whom I've personally counseled, though he's managing to live that life which his wife wants, he's managing to provide. But what's happening is he's left with nothing in the name of savings. He has zero savings, because whatever he's earning in one shot, it is getting blown in one foreign vacation itself, or in gifting her the big things. So financial mismatch is a huge thing which I have seen, because this guy was very much worried, saying that, Kiran sir, I have the money to give her that life which she wants. But what about saving for a rainy day? Suppose if another lockdown happens, then what? Then who will look after me? Because now, though I'm earning, whatever I'm earning is completely going in funding her, my wife's whims and fancies. But what about me? As in, what about my savings? What will happen? Suppose if I lose my job, what will happen if there is another lockdown? Like I won't get a salary for 2 3 months. I will be completely in shambles. So what? So this financial disparity which I have seen is a very common point. It's a very big problem which I've seen in Indian weddings, and it can work both the ways. Wife might want to save, but the husband would be a spendthrift. So this financial thing is a huge thing which I've seen, which I've seen as a big problem in Indian weddings. My next point is romance is dead after marriages. No dates, no candlelight dinners. So what happens? It's basically a death knell for a good relationship. They are just existing for the heck of it. They are just existing, calling themselves as husband and wife. But there is no real connection, like, because I'll just give you an example of myself only, because just today we returned from one hill station. Me and my two kids, we had gone. As I said, I every weekend I go at some place or the other. So there we had gone at one family restaurant to have our dinner. In fact, our hotel was a five-star hotel, so our hotel restaurant was in itself a family restaurant only. It was a good family restaurant, five-star family restaurant. So all family crowd were only there. So we three were sitting there, and we three were having a blast, because we have a no mobile policy while we are together, like me and my kids. Except when I'm making videos, you guys have met my children in my other videos. So we three were having fun. In fact, in that entire restaurant, there must have been around 30 to 35 families having their food, including us. But we were the only three people who were talking to each other, laughing, screaming, like having fun, having a blast. Whereas all the rest were families. Majority, in fact, all of them were families. There were no youngsters. All were like married, like husband, wife, kids. Majority, in fact, all of them were same. But one common thing which I had seen, husband was, I mean, each and everyone were glued to their phones. Nobody were talking to each other. Like there were many couples also, like married couples with kids, without kids. But one story was the same. Even the married couples, as in even the childless couples, were only glued to their phones, no conversation. And even the ones with kids were on their phones, no conversation. Nobody were even looking at each other. Like they looked so listless, that so disinterested with each other. Whereas me and my kids, we were like so into each other. We were talking, shouting. I was sharing jokes. I might like I don't know whether you guys know, but I do possess a little bit of sense of humor, and I can have them like I can have them in splits for hours. So I tell them lots of funny stories from my past, from my college days. So we were the only three people having a blast, whereas each and everybody were like least bothered in each other. Even the couples with children, they were like least bothered in their children. They were not even talking to their children. Whereas I was like fully into my children, as you might have seen in my videos also. So this thing goes for a toss, which is a very bad thing. This I'm saying from personal experience, which I'm sure even you might have seen what I'm saying. So these are the points with which I would like to conclude my video for today. But as a conclusion, if you ask me, what should be the solution? There are many solutions, but in one line, if you ask me to give you the solution, it would be man. A man should stop being effeminate. They should regain their masculine edge. And as for women, they should not tolerate their men losing their masculinity, because women plays a huge part in the man losing their masculinity. They should, in short, they should stop tolerating weak men. So it's my message to women who are married: don't tolerate weak men. Don't make them lose their masculinity. Try to help them to grow their masculinity, in fact, but don't try to don't tolerate weak men at the first place. If you're tolerating weak men, they are getting complacent, they are losing their edge, they are losing their masculinity. So that is something which I would definitely want to say in the form of this video, that men, if you're losing your masculinity, you don't, as in you don't have the right to call yourself a man, because what is a man? Masculine. If you're losing your masculinity, I don't think you will remain a man. Just by being born as a man does not make you a man. You have to live like one. And women, never ever tolerate weak men. All right, I'll make a move. Jai Hind.